This is Ed from Musica Lessons, and today we're going to talk about I'm Not the Only One by Sam Smith. This was one of his hits off of the In the Lonely Hour debut record that he had in 2014. Now this is a gospel-inspired tune. It has piano and orchestral strings, so we're going to have to get creative on our accompaniment for it. Smith also cites Adele and Amy Winehouse as influences, so you hear a little bit of that in this tune. Okay, now I encourage you to check out the blog post because there's a lot of additional information in there, writer's credits, that kind of thing, you know, the chord progression, playing tips. There's a YouTube link as well if you want to check out the tune. There's also a link to Wikipedia so you can read a little bit more about the tune. And there's a link for the lyrics and the tabs, although I'm going to give you a chord chart with this tune so that you can follow along. Alright, so grab your guitar, meet me back here in a second, and we'll go over all the stuff you need to play this tune. Alright, let's go over the chords that you're going to need to play this tune. We're going to be using first position chords in the key of F. Now, you can use the F bar chord position. However, I like using a more traditional fingerstyle acoustic position, which uses my thumb on the 6th string, first fret to play the F. I'm not going to play the 5th string. And I'm using the finger picking pattern, so I'm assigning my fingers to the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, which will stay true to practically all of the chords, except for the D minor, and we'll go over that in a second. And I'm playing the F triad here. I'm just draping my thumb over to get the F chord, to get the bass note of the F chord. The next chord is a garden variety A chord. Rather than using this position, I'm going to use the bar chord version. I just find it easier. The B flat chord is this same shape, except it's up a fret. I'm going to need my first finger to play that, what was the open A, just to play that root. So here it's the B flat. We're also going to have a C chord, garden variety C chord. And then when we get to the D minor chord, my thumb is going to move up to the 4th string to play that D. And my index, middle, and ring fingers are going to play the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings. And those are all the chords that you're going to need to play this tune. Now you can use a pick to play this song. The thing is, I like using my fingers because of the options that it makes available to me. Okay, so the basic finger style pattern is my thumb is going to play the bass notes. So for the F chord, it's going to be on the 6th string. For the A chord, my thumb moves to the 5th string. B flat, it plays the 6th string, the 5th string as well. And the C chord, 5th string. And then, like we went over in the chord section, for the D chord, it plays the 4th string. My index, middle, and ring fingers are assigned to the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings for all of the chords. The only thing that's going to move is my thumb. And then when I get to the D minor chord, I just shift everything up a string set. So my index, middle, and ring fingers are on the top 3 strings. I like using this because it gives me a variety of techniques to be able to use. There's a block chord technique where I pinch everything together. There's also the bass chord technique, which is kind of like a boom chick. That's where it comes from. What I like doing is using my thumb to play sort of what the left hand of the piano would play, and then my index, middle, and ring fingers will play the chords together at the same time. But because I'm doing thumb chord, and mixing up the rhythm, it gives the effect of a piano player playing or doing the accompaniment. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we break down the song form. Okay? The other thing that I like to do is when I do the thumb, the bass chord, I'll arpeggiate the chord. So I'll instead of playing my index, middle, and ring fingers together, I'll play them one at a time. So combining all of those techniques, we can create an accompaniment pattern that's really nice, you know, especially if it's just guitar and voice, okay? So the other technique that I like using is a percussive strum. And pretty much what I'm doing is I'm just gonna bring my right hand down on the strings after I've played them. All right, and then it becomes part of the pattern. Now, generally at the end, when he does the F to C, I can throw that in there to kind of make a statement, put a period at the end of the sentence, that kind of thing. All right, so you have all of that available to you. You have the block chord technique, you've got the bass chord technique, you've got the arpeggiated technique, and you've got percussive strum that you can use. The last technique that I would suggest is also the finger brushing technique, and that's pretty much I use my index and middle fingers the way I'd use a pick. All right, so come back in a second and we'll break down the song form. The intro is 8 measures long. It's a 2-bar chord riff that repeats. Now each chord is going to get 2 measures. Okay, so the cycle is F, A, D minor, B flat. And that cycle keeps repeating. Now, as I said in the previous sections, you can use the block chord technique, which I am using to some degree. And then in the second measure, as you saw, I kind of did a little bit of separation between the bass and the chord. Okay, so it does that cycle 3 times. F, A, D minor, B flat. And then it ends with an F for 2 beats, C for 2 beats, and F for a full measure. Okay, for the verse, it's still the exact same progression. The progression is going to keep repeating. It's also going to repeat also for the chorus. But here, what I was doing was a little bit more arpeggiating. Again, feel free to mix these accompaniment patterns. Okay, so what you want to be careful with here is not to play the arpeggios too busy while he's singing. Try to answer the vocal, okay? So, all right, and the finger picking pattern is really loose. I'm making it up as I go along, okay? But what I want to do is just create a little bit of texture between the sections, all right? So that's pretty much it. We used the block chord technique with a little bit of bass chord in the intro, and here for the verse, we used the bass chord with the arpeggios. Okay? Come back and we'll do the chorus. Now as you get to the chorus, you want to keep building. That's why I like using a variety of techniques. Okay, so here we're going to use the strumming pattern. Now, I like being able to define the bass note. What I do is I aim for the bass note to be on the downbeat. So, you can hear that bass note. Then the rest of it is just strumming with my index and middle fingers as though they were a pick. Now I like brushing. I don't try to hit the strings too hard because I really want to create a nice texture on it. And also, if you notice, I'm getting more nail on the down strum and more fingertip on the up strum, so it creates a nice little texture. All right, it's just a way of varying the accompaniment as you do this. All right, so work on that, and I'll see you back here for the bridge. The bridge is 8 measures long and it begins on B flat. Now, because of the change in mood and the change in texture, I do a combination of the bass chord and bass arpeggio. Okay, so the first measure is B flat to F, A, and the fourth measure is D minor. On the fourth beat of the D minor, I put the C in the bass so I can get a nice little walking bass line there. And then we go to B flat to F again. And we end with B flat to C. So every chord gets a measure. B flat, F, A, then D minor. Now on the D minor, I like putting in that C in the bass line to bring me to the B flat, F, and then B flat, and the C prepares us to go back to the chord cycle that begins on F. I hope you enjoyed learning I'm Not the Only One. I certainly enjoyed preparing it for you. If you haven't checked out any classic R&B or gospel, I encourage you to do so. It's nice to see where today's artists get their inspiration from, and it may motivate you and inspire you in a whole new direction. I thank you for hanging with me, and I'll see you here next time.